Today we're going to talk about, yes, I have to talk about it because I've been doing some research, deep digging into Pete Hegseth. Yesterday we hinted on him a little bit, well, a lot. Also, we're going to talk about Ron DeSantis because there's been rumors speculating that he might replace Pete Hegseth. And there will be a topic on whether women in the military should, about women in the military. Should women be in military altogether? As well as, hello, I am Jacob. Hello, I am Jacob. Thank you for coming in. Also, in regards to the LGBTQIA plus community, should don't ask, don't tell, come back? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Hope Inspires. Thank you for coming in. Now, I might wait. I might look. I ain't gonna lie. I might hold off on this. Hold off on this. We shall see. We shall see. I am Jacob says, kindly hit that like button. Yes. And also, we're going to talk about, yes, there was another school mass episode. Okay. And that will talk about, will dismantling education department drop the crime in schools? Or should I say school crime? And then last but not least, we're going to talk about Mike Johnson comments on Joe Biden and his son. Thanks, Florida Blue Jacket. You're welcome, Hope Inspires. You're welcome. Now, in regards to fair use copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for the purposes such as criticism, commenting, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Now, like I stated, we're going to have a conversation in regards to what's been going on. What's been going on here in America? There's been a lot going on since Donald Trump has been elected, the elected 47th president. And yesterday, the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, as well as other lead Republicans, they held a meeting yesterday. And we have 46 more days. They had another meeting yesterday to have a conversation. And in this conversation, I'm going to show a clip in regards to the conversation, the topics that Mike Johnson hinted on. He talked about how positive, all the positive things has came about since Donald Trump has became the elected president. Okay, he talked about positive things. Now, I'm just gonna play the clip. I'm gonna do about 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna play some clips. Okay, about all what Mike Johnson had to talk about in regards to he throw some shots at Joe Biden. He throwed him out there. He called Joe Biden out. And in regards to Donald Trump, he said, since Donald Trump has won, stock has went up. Iran has called off attack on Israel. Then he even said, because of Donald Trump, foreign leaders are making their way to Florida to sit down and talk to Donald Trump. Then he also said that Mexico has pledged to take immediate action to stop the flow of illegal immigrants. He's saying all of this. He said, since Donald Trump has won, and mind you, Joe Biden is not even out of office, but he says, since Donald Trump has won, he says, we're already on a positive note. Hello, Nightbot. Thank you for coming in. And last but not least, in this meeting, I'm going to show a clip, all what I'm talking about. He spoke on how America is pro-life. Now, me personally, I don't know if we can consider that pro-life, because a lot of people here, I feel like he should not speak for everybody. He should not speak for everybody. And I'm going to play And thank you guys for coming in. I'm going to play a clip of this press conference after the meeting that they had. Thank you for coming in. And yes, this is the meeting where he threw shots at Joe Biden. He threw them and had no cares in the world. And thank you guys for coming in. And Nightbot, I see you. I see you, Nightbot. Thank you for coming in. And guys, can you please kindly hit that button, that like button, and subscribe. We're having a nice conversation. And as you can see in the thumbnail, politics versus women. Yes, we're going to talk about that. Why? Because of everything that has been coming up since Donald Trump has became the elected president. But first, we're going to talk about Mike Johnson and his shots at Joe Biden. And thank you for coming in.
Vid.ai.
Oh, sorry. It's a commercial. One moment, you guys. It's a commercial. Can't do that.
Has 47 more days before he returns to the Oval Office, but he is already making dramatic change, and he's bringing that change that we knew and expected if he got elected would happen. The stock market is surging. Iran called off a retaliatory attack on Israel. Foreign leaders are making their way to Mar-a-Lago to sit down with a new president and get on his good side. And Mexico has pledged to take immediate action to stop the flow of illegal immigration and human trafficking and fentanyl into our borders. Those are all good starts. There's much more good news ahead. And this is just the beginning. The era of promises made and promises kept.
Now, he's stating all of these good things, but I want people to take note. Okay? Just take note. Just because Donald Trump has won, he's not officially all the way in just yet. Yes, please like and subscribe. He is not all the way in just yet. And as you guys have been seeing, okay, recently in the news, what's been going on, okay, I want to make sure I show it to you guys, okay. And this lady that you're looking at, Leticia James, she's praying that Donald Trump's pay that over $300 million. I gotta laugh. Why? Because when it comes down to Leticia James, Donald Trump's team, they have put in a motion to have this mess dismissed. Now, why am I mentioning her when I'm talking about Mike Johnson? Because Mike Johnson is saying that everything is going so well right now. Everything is going so well since Donald Trump has been elected. But if you guys can remember, this lady right here, she sued Donald Trump through civil. Okay. However, on the legal side, Donald Trump's camp, they put in a file to have that dismissed. Why did they want to have this dismissed? Because Jack Smith, if you guys can remember, special counsel, he has put in, and they have dismissed the case in Washington, D.C. They have already dismissed the appeal for the case in Florida, right? And now in New York, now you have Miss Leticia James with her civil lawsuit that they won. They're filing to dismiss that. Now, Mike Johnson, he's saying, oh, this is going well. But remember what I just said. Frank says, hello, Frank. Frank says, she's a problem. Yes. I'm laughing because you're right, Frank. You're right. And remember what I titled. I say politics versus women, right? Because with Leticia James, I really feel, you guys can let me know. You guys can put a 1 in the bottom in the chat. I feel she filed a civil lawsuit and moved forward with this whole matter for political gain, right? Because Donald Trump is a name. And if I'm going to play this, I'm going to play this clip, what Mike Johnson said yesterday. Because Donald Trump, according to him, has so much power. Hello, Joshua. Thank you for coming in. It's saying Donald Trump has so much power, right? He says everything is already coming on the up and up. Let's go. I'm going to play that clip one more time. He's saying everything is on the up and up. I'm going to play that clip one more time for everybody that's just coming in of what Mike Johnson said, just how much power. And I feel like I stated, you guys, her moves of what she did with Donald Trump is for political gain, right? So here we go. I'm finna play this clip of Mike Johnson, what he said since Donald Trump won the election November the 5th. This is what the outcome is. And this was yesterday. Now we have 46 more days before he returns to the Oval Office, Donald Trump. So we're going to play Mike Johnson's clip of what he said, the positive so far that has come about.
President Trump still has 47 more days before he returns to the Oval Office, but he is already making dramatic change, and he's bringing that change that we knew and expected if he got elected would happen. The stock market is surging. Iran called off a retaliatory attack on Israel. Foreign leaders are making their way to Mar-a-Lago to sit down with a new president and get on his good side. And Mexico has pledged to take immediate action to stop the flow of illegal immigration and human trafficking and fentanyl into our borders. Those are all good starts.
Now he's saying all of this, right? And Truth, hello, Truth. Truth said it's on his official website. Pledge 18 of 20 pledges. Thank you for coming in, Truth. Frank says, we want deportation. And Frank, you know what? I cannot even disagree with you on that, because everything what has been going on, right? Everything what's been going on. And even so much, and I'm gonna play some little clips. But even what happened yesterday, right? Because according to Donald Trump, not only does he want, I gotta show it. Not only does he want deportation, and I'm gonna pin what you just said, Frank. And thank you for coming in, you guys. Please hit that like button. Truth says, no, what I said was a continuation of my last comment. I didn't see your last comment, but thank you for coming in, because the only thing that I can see is that you said that it's on his official website, and I don't see anything else, Truth. But now, according to Donald Trump, not only does he want to seal the border and stop this migrant invasion, or as Frank says, we want deportation, right? But based off of what happened yesterday, there was another school incident where two kids were actually hurt, okay? And that is why my next question is, okay, based off of Donald Trump's Agenda 47, we got to talk about it. Based off of his Agenda 47, he stated, and I quote, he wants to dismantle the education. He wants to dismantle it, right? Because look what happened yesterday. Look what happened yesterday. I want people to understand this. This is one of the reasons I feel that this dismantling the education up in Washington, D.C. and putting it back to the states, why I feel, you know what, he might have a point. Frank R says, drill, baby, drill. Frank, I see you or Trump. Truth says, that's odd. I was saying how Trump pledged 18 of 20, how he was going to deport. Oh Lord, I can't go there now, Truth. Come on now. Come on now, True. Now you know, True. You trying to get some mess started, True. Truth. What are you doing, Truth? And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. This is Politic Graham you're watching. We're talking about everything that's been going on. And as of recently, yesterday, just yesterday, okay, I want people to understand what happened yesterday. I got to talk about it. Okay, I'm going to stroll all the way down to talk about the incident that happened. And I think you guys know, if you live here in America, in California, there was a man, an adult, that came to a school, a K-8 school, okay? And he actually came to that school in an Uber car. An Uber car, had a meeting with the principal. According to reports, he walked into the school to talk and have a meeting about enrolling their child in this school that only holds, 33 students, 35 students. And the next thing you know, according to this principal, she heard pop, pop. She heard pop, pop. What was that? He actually hit, okay? Hit a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, okay? And then they called the police. When the police arrived, the law enforcement arrived. I am very passionate. Be cool, be cool, be cool. Thank you for coming in. Truth says, let me read what Frank says. Frank says, education is whack. It's good day defund. Yes, that's good because you can't speak. We don't ask, we ask. Yes. Truth says, you people don't understand how serious us men are right now. We will show no mercy for anyone who is not pro-America and wants to make what? So, Truth, let me ask you this, Truth. Okay, do you believe, 2 questions. Do you believe that education should be sent back to the states, for one? And then the second question is, do you believe women should not be in the military? Since you want to be the truth, this is your name in this chat is Truth Unveiled. I want to know, do you feel women should not be in the military? And then on top of that, do you feel that education should be sent back to the states? Okay, and the reason I'm asking that is because of what the comments that Pete Hegseth made. Yes, Pete Hegseth made in regards to combat. Women should not be in combat. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. True says, I believe women should serve in military the way they served in all wars. No non-combat roles. Okay. Frank says, yes, no women in the, oh my goodness, Frank says, yes, no women in the military, and yes, should go back, oh my goodness, should go back to the states. Dave says, stop yelling. And hello, you guys. Thank you for coming in. This is Politic Graham. Shane says, no women in combat roles. Now, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Because these are the things that I'm wondering in regards to where does Donald Trump stand because of the people that he has chosen in his new administration. And one of his picks that has made much controversy is Pete Hegseth. Okay? And one of the things that he said it in an interview recently. He said, we should not have women in combat. Okay? That's what he spoke on. But before I go there, because I'm going to give my part, right? And it's going to shock people. Right? because I want to be fair. I want to be impartial. I don't want people to assume one thing that I'm going to say just because I sound like a woman and all of that. No. We got to be very fair, because when you're in combat, that's very different than other roles in the military, correct? So I want people to understand that those are very different roles. There's a number of roles in the military, right? A number of roles. So I want people to understand that. And one person that would know about these quote unquote certain roles, as they say, it would be this person. If I can find her. But when I find her, let me go back. Because I don't want to get thrown off. When it comes down to Donald Trump, he is I'm noticing that he's picking certain people. Hello, thank you for coming in, Funny. Funny says, women can be in the military as cooks. Whoa, not as cooks, just cooks. Shane says, then they can't walk. Whoa. Hello, you guys. Thank you for coming in. We're having a conversation about, should women be in the military? And if so, what roles? Because according to Pete Hegseth, he said women should not be in no combat. Right? But before we continue to go on that route, because when I looked it up, it's a lot and it's making me wonder. Shane says they are better fighter pilots. Yes. And see, that's a lot of the conversation that this person had that I'm gonna show you guys. This person had Pete Hegseth. Everything that you guys are speaking of, I promise you guys, I can't make this up. He spoke on this. And he has made a lot of people upset. A lot of people upset. And when I looked it up, Jason says, hello, Jason. Jason, thank you for coming in. And hello, guys. Please hit that like button. All you have to do is just hit a like. Jason says, women should stay out a man's way, especially when working. Frank says, you funny, Jason. Truth says, that's a lie, Shane. Us men have faster, reactionary timing and quicker problem-solving abilities biologically. So that can't be true. Whoa, truth. You're coming in real rough, aren't you? You're coming in real rough. Now, I will say this, okay? Let me get my little notes out, okay? Because I gotta hit key points with what Pete Hegseth discussed. What he discussed in a recent interview. But I want people to hit that like button before I move forward, because this is very serious topic, and I don't want people to get anything misconstrued of what I'm saying. Okay, please hit that like button. This is Politic Ground. Thank you for coming in. We are talking about politics as far as women in the military, as well as women in politics altogether. True says, ma'am, have you seen how Project 2025, the conservative mandate that will take place? They are going to fix the black population. Matthew says, have to agree about the women in combat. And, that's why I wanted to talk about that, because yesterday, it was a lot of people that came into the live yesterday. And I want to make sure, that we have a complete understanding with where I stand on it, right? Shane says, you should have started off with that dude. Wait a minute. Shane, are you talking about this guy? We'll go back to that. Chris says, it's a lot of people coming in. Let me read the comments. Daniel says, I think the most serious issue with him is the reports of him drinking while working. That is destructive alcoholic behavior, which we don't want in leadership positions. Yes. And Daniel, I gotta pin it. Can I pin it? I gotta pin it. Chris says, no women in the military. Whoa, no women, Chris? Chris says, no women. Chris, no women? Come on, Chris. Let me show this. You're saying no women? No women at all? Why? Why, Chris? Why no women? See, one thing about Pete Hegseth, he just said no women in combat. And hello, OG Brand. OG Brand says, hey, everyone, and you silly rabbits. Hello, and thank you for coming in. Thank you so much for coming in. Now, wait a minute, Chris. You said no women. I can't believe you said it like that, Chris. That's real heavy, Chris. Truth says because their social media gods told them so. Wait a minute. Truth, what are you talking about? Truth says it's wrong for a man to be a man, a leader who is responsible for his man. But if a woman wants to be a housewife, all glory to her. Whoa. Chris says women can support the military. Shane says truth is a blank and I bet he's black. What? Shane. Wait a minute. Shane, I just realized how you switched it up. Wait a minute, Shane. I couldn't even reach your whole comment. Truth says, I am an American first, Latino. My last name is Sanchez. My ancestors were conquerors. Oh. Well, hello, Truth. Thank you for coming in. Amy says, there is a difference between shepherd versus bully. Whoa. Shane says, you sound like a whoa. Now, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be respectful. This channel welcomes all opinions, okay? We welcome all opinions here, okay? There is no, okay, right or wrong, right? Long as you are, quote unquote, respectful. Ben, hello, Ben. Ben says, put America first on the front lines. Go and prove how patriotic you really are. Whoa. Ben, thank you for coming in. Here's a question, Ben. This is the conversation that we're having. How do you feel with women being in the military? That's the question, right? Do you feel women should be in the military, or do you feel women should not be in combat, but they can be in the military? That's the question. And OG Brand says, sad case. And see, this is what I want people to understand when it comes down. Ben says, women offer amazing skills. And thank you so much for saying that, Ben. I mean, according to, like I stated, there's been a lot going on with Pete. Pete has been saying a lot. Pete has been saying a whole lot. But Frank says, only if I'm next to Joy Behar from the View. How did Joy get in this? How did Joy from the View get in this? Chris says, men need women. You are necessity. Women should never have to fight for a man. Melinda, thank you so much for coming in. Melinda says, hello, everyone. Hello, everyone is doing good today. Now, I was trying to actually show a specific person that is in office, and they are female, and I don't know how Pete is going to actually get along with this person, as they say. I don't know how Pete is going to get along with this person because they have so many, their views on the military are so different. Extremely different. I don't know how they're going to get along, this particular person. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. We're having a conversation about should women be in the military? And if so, should they not be in combat? And the only reason I'm talking about this is because we had a serious conversation about this yesterday. It was a very serious conversation on this yesterday. And it got very heated and very heavy. And I'm going to go back to the comments. Thank you guys for coming in. Frank says she a woman, right? And or she and it. Oh, whoa. Now, Frank, I know where you're going with this because they spoke about that too. Amy says, truth unveiled. I now can see how men are silenced just as much as women. Their power is always tested. And thank you, Amy, for coming in. I'm going to read that one more time. Amy says, truth unveiled. I now can see how men are silenced just as much as women. Their power is always tested. Amy, that's some real stuff that you just put there. I had to read it again. Jason says, I guess those social skills are on the view. Whoa. Hello, Jade. Jade says, this chick knows she's screaming at her mic. Thank you so much. I am very passionate, Jade. Thank you so much for coming in. Frank says, that's the Democratic Party for you. Is on the view. I don't know who in the Democratic Party they look up to, but I say the view. Truth says, over time, they always make men spit on every movie, TV show, now video games. Amy says, non-combative roles for women. What's wrong with protecting our women? Truth says, yes, ma'am. Women want to do non-combat. Wait a minute. Wait, let me read these comments before I read it aloud. Daniel says, I don't think anyone actually watched The View. Now, I would say this, okay? The View, I'm just going to be honest, and it's no disrespect to people, right, on The View. You know, I have the utmost respect, you know, for everybody. But we need to really focus on people such as, I'm just going to be honest, such as Pete Hegseth. And I got to show this person right here. Ron DeSantis. And what do they both have in common? They are actually, both of them have actually been in the military. Both of them have actually been in politics. So when it comes down to the people on The View, they don't really count. I'm just going to be honest. When it comes down to having an argument, right? The people on The View, they do not have a stance on certain topics. I'm just being honest. Certain things, yes, we all have opinions. We all have a voice. Yes. But I'm not trying to pick Joy Behar to be the Secretary of Defense. I'm not trying to pick Whoopi Goldberg to be Secretary of Defense. I'm not trying to pick these people to be in the role that we're talking about today. That's just being honest. And it has nothing to do with them being a quote-unquote woman. It has nothing to do with that, right? My thing is, we need to talk about women that are actually in the military, that has actually been in the military, that are actually veterans, okay? And much respect to all the veterans and all the people that are in the military, who have been in the military, or also who are family members of people who are in the military, okay? So with this, the people as far as Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg, like it's no disrespect, but they are not Ron DeSantis. They are not Pete Hegseth. They are not people that have been in the military. And last but not least, I'm trying to find the person that I was going to show you guys. Okay, because I don't want people to think that I'm trying to quote unquote say I believe women should not be in the military. That is not true. That is not true. I'm not trying to make people think that, and I would never want anybody to think that, right? My whole thing is, if you're going to have a stance on something so stern if we're talking about Joy Behar and the people on The View, right? If we're talking about them, all I'm going to say is just make sure you're on the level as Lloyd Austin, okay, who is current Secretary of Defense, as such and so, Ron DeSantis, okay, who's the governor of Florida, who was also a member in the Navy, as Pete Hegseth, who was also a member in the military as well. Just make sure you get your game up. That's all I'm saying, okay? And I'm going to continue in reading the comments. Thank you guys for coming in. Truth says less than 1% of combat service in the U.S. was done by women. Less than 1%. Yes, you're absolutely right. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, Truth Unveiled. I'm going to pin that because I was going to talk about why is Pete Hegseth, saying certain things, because women they're only in combat by, a small percentage, right? A very small percentage is what I pinned, what Truth Unveiled said, okay, ladies and gentlemen. And it's like I said, it is no disrespect, okay? It is no disrespect. But once again, I want people to understand you have to really look at the whole perspective of things, okay? And Frank says, we love Pat Trump lawyers chick. What? The Trump lawyer chick. Wait a minute, Frank. Frank. Wait a minute. What does Donald Trump's lawyer, a female lawyer, what does that have to do with? You guys are not going to get me off. You guys are not going to get me off. Wait a minute. Frank, what are you talking about, Frank? Oh, my goodness. I know who you're talking about, but I'm like, what does that have to do with this? Truth Unveiled said, you should pin the comment that says, women can't hold 150 pounds over their back and run a few miles. They can't even walk 2 feet. Wait a minute. Truth. Are you speaking for all of the women? What are you talking about? Can somebody in who's watching this, can somebody counteract with Truth, please? In the chat, please. Please. What is going on here? Can somebody? Chris says, have forgotten about Jessica Lynch. Oh, boy. Chris. Oh, boy. Truth says, I got to go get my brothers ready for school. You take care, Mama. Sorry if I can't. No, Truth, you ain't come off rude. Truth, I appreciate you coming in here, and I asked you to come back. I appreciate you coming in here. We want people like you, okay? It's like I said, I respect people who have a voice. I respect people who stand on things, right? I respect people such as that. Frank says, Trump's lawyer isn't hot. That's not what Frank said. Frank says, she's hot, isn't she? Oh, my goodness. Village, thank you so much, Village Life with JD. Greetings. Thank you for coming in. Jason says, I noticed Trump picked a lot of females for his cabinet. I didn't notice that, Jason. Now, come on now. Julie says, women make human life inside their body. Ooh, Julie, you coming. I see you coming hard. Julie says, women make human life. Can men do that? Whoa. Whoa, Julie. Can I pin that? I'm going to pin it, Julie. Thank you for coming in. Steven says, good morning, Sunshine. Good morning, Steven. Thank you for coming in. Ray says, is this some type of feminist propaganda? No. Ray, you do not. This must be your first time coming in. This must be your first time coming in. And the reason I wanted to talk about what's been going on is because of this gentleman that you see here, Pete. Okay? And thank you for coming in. Truth says, okay, then show me a video of women carrying another grown man and running a mile. I'll take my comment when I see it, mama. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I was trying to hold up, Truth. Wait a minute. Hold up. I was trying to find, wait a minute now, Truth. Hold up. I see you trying to make me work for my money now. Hold up, Truth. Hold up. Give me a minute now, Truth. Give me a minute. I'm going to do it. Hold on now. Wait a minute. Don't go nowhere, Truth. Because I wanted to show a person that Donald Trump actually has nominated. Okay? He's nominated this person, Truth. I did it. I'm trying to find it. I did a whole thing on her. I did a whole thing on her. Yes, it is a she. She is a she. Okay? So, yes, hold on. Give me a moment, and thank you guys for coming in. And Truth, like I said, it's nothing against what you say. I respect people who have a voice. We do not allow, quote unquote, people who just, are scared to speak up. I respect that you speak your piece. And this is why I'm gonna say this person right here, I may not agree everything with what he says. This person right here, we're talking about Pete Hegseth, but I can respect that he will say what's on his mind. And he will say it and not care. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? Like Donald Trump, say something and not care. Yes. And thank you guys for coming in. I was trying to actually find it. For you, Truth, because like I stated, I did look this person up. I did. It was a lady. And I think you guys know, if you guys have been, if you are a true quote unquote into politics, be it Democrat, be it Republican, I think you guys know the person that I'm talking about that Donald Trump recently nominated in a position who was in the military. If you guys are into politics, be it Democrat or Republican, liberal, conservative, whatever. You're into politics. I think you guys should know who I'm about to show, who I'm trying to find that I actually looked up. I think you guys should know who I'm talking about. And thank you guys for coming in. Okay? If I can't find it, I'm going to move forward, but I want to actually show it to you guys who I'm talking about. Who I'm talking about. Okay, with this particular person that I'm looking for, that I did my research, they are in the military or have been in the military, and a lot of people they have made controversy as well, as we should say. I'm being very careful with my words. They have made a lot of controversy. A lot of controversy. And I want people to understand, and let me go into the comments. Julie says, yes, ma'am, of course. Hello, Moo. Hello. Women can help be the brains of the operation, but relying on a woman to protect you against a man in hand-to-hand combat is just a bad idea. Jason says, man puts the life in you. Whoa. Woo, Jason, are you coming for Julie? Julie says, women can love each other and still love men. Don't be blind. Woo. SBM says, bro, you need help. Truth Unveiled says, women who has no experience. Sorry, I typed that by accident. Oh my goodness, Truth. Chris says, a grown man can't carry a grown man for a mile unless you're Forrest Gump. Can I pin that? Should I pin that? Chris, I'm gonna pin it. I gotta pin it. Truth Unveiled says, I love women. I just don't think they should be in combat. It's a risk for our fellow soldiers. They can't run as fast. They aren't as strong. And they aren't as rugged. It's just the way our God made. us. Art of War. Art of War says, good morning, news lady. I overslept. I'm late. No, you're not. No, you're not, Art of War. You are not late. You are just on in the nick of time. And thank you guys for coming in. And Truth Unveiled, I appreciate, somebody like you coming in, stating your mind, stating your piece, as well as you too, Julie. As well as you too, Julie. And, because we need people that actually speak their voice and not afraid, okay? Because that's one thing I noticed what's going on since this person, Donald Trump, has became the elected, president. Okay, he won, beat out Kamala Harris or Kamala. Anyway, he won, right? But a lot of people seem like they are scared. They are absolutely scared of Trump. That's what it seems like. And this is according to Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson said it. He said ever since Donald Trump has got elected, he says that stock has went up, and that's true. I'll give him that. You know why I say that's true? Because look what happened to Elon Musk stock. Elon Musk company Tesla. Tesla, within 3 days of Donald Trump winning the election, November the 5th, Tesla is worth $1 trillion. So if you wanna speak on that level, okay, stock has went up. Yes, stock has went up. And thank you guys for coming in. Now, Truth Unveiled, I'm going to find, I may not find it this live, but I'm going to, look, take my word when I say this, okay? If people been coming to my live, you know who I'm talking about. I did my research on this lady. And I refuse, I quote, I refuse to not have that just be in vain, because I did a whole page on this lady. Okay, so Truth Unveiled, please do not, I implore you, trust me, take my word for what I'm telling you. Anybody that has been on this live before, you know that I have looked this lady up. I'm still trying to find her. But in the meantime, in between time, back to this gentleman here, Mike Johnson, okay? He actually did a press conference yesterday, okay, with other top Republicans, and I'm going to play some clips, okay, in regards to what he said about Joe Biden. Yes, he did say some things about Joe Biden. And thank you guys for coming in. I got to play it. Got to. In one moment, we get commercials. We're in commercials. One moment. We're in commercials. One moment.
About Hunter Biden, a lot has been said and written about the pardon. President Biden is letting his son off the hook for the federal crimes that he committed. This weekend, of course, he pardoned Hunter. And it's important to point out, and everyone has, and even many Democrats are now expressing their great disappointment and their dismay, because the president promised us over and over and over, repeatedly, unequivocally. He told the American people that he would not issue a pardon for his son, and then he did it. It was more than 10 occasions. We have the receipts. It's all on video. They made formal, official declarations to that point.
Now, I'm going to show a clip, one of the clips that I have, as proof that, quote unquote, Joe Biden did say he was not going to pardon his son. He did say that. The person that I'm talking about, for those who don't know who Sleepy Joe, aka Joe Biden is, respectfully, Joe Biden, I'm going to be respectful. He's still our president. I have respect for him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all the Democrats and for everybody. I'm going to be respectful, okay? But I do. Here's a clip. Here's a clip. Here is the clip for what he is talking about when it comes down to, he did say, and I quote, I'm not going to pardon Hunter Biden. Here we go. Let's roll it.
Decent men I know, and I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Whoa. Now look, according to Mike Johnson, he says there's been 10 occasions. 10 occasions. Okay, and I quote, 10. And I have one. And the clip that you just saw, that was back in June of this year where he said he would not pardon his son. We're going to move forward. What else? What else did Mike Johnson have to say? Because he's throwing shots. He throwed out a couple shots. And thank you so much, Artifor, for coming in. And ladies and gentlemen, please hit that like button.
The White House said he wouldn't do it, but he did. So they misled the American people. And a lot has been recounted over the last couple of days since that happened, that it's just like when he said the border was secure. It's just like when he said that Bidenomics was working great for the American people. It's just like when he denied or tried to cover up his obvious mental acuity and decline. And it's just like when he insisted that the catastrophic Afghanistan withdrawal was somehow a success.
Now, we're gonna take another breather. What he said, because I show clips. When he spoke about Joe Biden's alleged mental decline, because people have been, wondering what's been going on with this person right here, Joe Biden, our current president. He's still our current president, ladies and gentlemen. He will not be officially out of the office until January 20th of 2025. Let's be honest. Okay. Thank you guys for hitting that like button. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Please share. Please, if you would like to support, subscribe. Okay. Hit the like button. If you want to do more, you can always donate. Now, I'm going to show a clip that might be on Mike Johnson's side that questions Joe Biden's, cognitive skills. Because I'm going to show you one clip where he was 4 years ago. And he was the age of Donald Trump, what Donald Trump is right now. Okay? This is him 4 years ago. I'm going to play it. When they asked him about his, cognitive skills. This was him 4 years ago.
I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Did you watch that? Look, come on, man. I know you're trying to goad me, but I'm so full. Did you watch that? Look, come on, man. I know you're trying to goad me, but I'm so forward looking to have an opportunity to sit with the president or stand with the president in debates.
Now, that was 4 years ago. This is how he is now. This was him 5 months ago at a debate with Donald Trump. The next clip is from 5 months ago.
They're capable of anything, and they step up when they're needed. And right now, we're needed. We're needed to protect the world because of our own safety as a state. And again, you want to have a war, just let Putin go ahead and take Kyiv, make sure they move on, see what happens in Poland, Hungary, and other places along that.
That was him 5 months ago. And see, this is what Mike Johnson was trying to hint on yesterday's press conference that he held. Him as well as other lead Republicans held yesterday. He was throwing shots. And what did he speak on? This is just a review of what he spoke. I'm going to highlight it. Okay? He said Joe Biden lied 10 occasions that he wouldn't pardon Hunter Biden. Then he lied about the border secure. Then he was hiding his cognitive issues. And also, in regards to Afghanistan withdrawal was a good idea. And then stated, this is according to Mike Johnson, then stated Biden's family has been more harm than good. This is what Mike Johnson is saying. Now don't get mad at me, guys. Look, I am just the messenger. Okay? And I want people to understand that the reason that they had this quote-unquote press conference yesterday was because of the person or the people that Donald Trump has nominated for the new administration. That's how all this is coming up, right? And that is why I wanted to talk about Pete Hegseth, because it's all coming up in regards to Pete Hegseth allegedly allegations about him coming to work on Fox Network, okay, coming drunk as an alcoholic. It's allegations in regards to false, I'm just going to say allegations for now, how he has, bothered women, messed with women, allegations in regards to that, even on a personal level of how he even met his third wife from cheating on his second wife. All this is coming up, right? So what does Mike Johnson do and his team do? They come in and they say, let's keep it straight to the facts, right? Let's keep it straight to the facts. He says, wait a minute. Let's talk about Joe Biden. You guys are talking about a nomination, Pete Hegseth. Let's talk about Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the one that's a quote-unquote president. Joe Biden is the one that's the quote-unquote president. So he's coming very hard at this point. And give me one moment, you guys. One moment. And thank you guys for coming in. But these are the things that, quote unquote, Mike Johnson is stating. He wants people to get back to the quote unquote facts. And the facts are, according to him and his team, that the current president has let people down. Also, in this press conference that was held yesterday, got to talk about some things. And thank you guys for coming in. Let me read the comments. Moose says, but women can hang with average guy. Yes. But a BA guy would take her down with ease 100%. Chris says, gotta go. Thank you for coming in, Chris. I appreciate it. Julie says, truth is being real. Honestly, I don't think women should hinder a group of men needing to keep a war mind thing. Truth Unveiled says, still haven't seen it. I guess I won't take it back. Yes, sweetie. And Julie says, I agree. We can't lift what we can. We are women built different, but not less. That's the point. Truth Unveiled says, us men are called bad people for thinking it's good. It's a good thing that we sacrifice our lives for our children and not our women. Imagine arguing over this. Julie says they should both be revered equally. Okay, so Julie, now I want to make sure I understand this. Do you feel that men and women can work together in the military in all aspects, in all realms? That's one of my questions. Truth says yes, of course, and that's when have been supportive women serving non-combative roles. Okay, so Truth Unveiled, you're speaking that women can be in the military as long as it is not combat, right? And Marby says The strongest armies throughout history have been all men. Woo. I knew this was going to be a topic. That is why I wanted to actually, now I'm going to play some clips in regards to the interview that Pete Hegseth recently did. I don't know if you guys seen it, okay? I don't know if you guys have seen it. But I'm going to play some clips, okay? And this is fair use in regards to what Pete Hegseth said. And I got to get my notes out so I can hit key points of what Pete Hegseth said. The first clip is his opinion on men and women in the military altogether, okay? That will be the first clip and where he stands on it. And in this first clip, he did mention not only the women, but he mentioned the quote unquote, he hinted about the LGBTQIA plus community. Okay, so fair use. And let me see, give me one moment. One moment, you guys. One moment. Yes, fair use. Fair use. And thank you guys for coming in. Fair use. Trying to make sure I get stuff situated. Okay, like I said, the first clip is, I want to make sure I play it. The first clip is when he's basically discussing where women should stand in the military. Yes, women's standards. And I want to make sure I hit the right one because this is fair use. Oh, man. Dang it. One moment, you guys. I'm sorry. One moment, you guys. My apologies.
Is women in combat and quotas. I think the way they pushed that under Obama in a way that had zero to do with efficacy, zero to do with lethality and capability.
You don't like women in combat?
No.
Why not?
I love women service members who contribute amazingly.
Now I'm going to replay that part one more time, okay? And thank you guys for coming in. I'm going to play that part one more time. Because I got to have a conversation about Bill Clinton. Yes, Bill Clinton is connected with all of this, okay? With all of this. As well as Obama. With this. And thank you guys for coming in. I'm going to play it one more time.
Had zero to do with efficacy, zero to do with lethality and capability.
You don't like women in combat?
No.
Why not?
I love women service members who contribute amazingly because everything about men and women serving together makes the situation more complicated. Admission standards, overall standards. I think a huge one is women in combat and quotas. I think the way they pushed that under Obama in a way that had zero to do with efficacy. Zero.
Now, with this particular clip, I said, what the heck he talking about? What in the heck is he talking about? Okay, I said, wait a minute. How the hell Obama get into this? I said, wait a minute. I said, Mike Johnson did a press conference yesterday talking about Joe Biden, basically calling him old liar. Okay. I said, wait a minute. Pete Hegseth throw Obama into this. I said, wait a minute. What the heck Obama has to do with this? So I do my research. We're going to stroll all the way down, strolling it down. Okay. How does Obama have to do with this? Because Obama was the one that got rid of this. Okay. He was the one that got rid of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell Act. And the Don't Ask, Don't Tell Act was started December the 21st of 1993. And look when it ended. September the 20th of 2011. Okay. All of this is coming. Why? Because I want people to understand when it comes down to LGBTQIA plus community, it is also what's making me wonder what is going to happen to the women in the military. If you feel the way you feel about women not being in the roles of combat, right? I understand that. I completely understand why. A lot of people, especially people who have been in the military, right? Yes, I understand. I get it. Completely understand it. And shout out to you, Truth Unveiled. Shout out to your understanding. However, I want people to understand this. When I'm looking up, okay, the same as what Pete Hegseth, he even spoke about the transgender community, right? And that goes with, okay, the Don't Ask, Don't Tell Act that was started by former President Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton did an interview, right? Years later. He said that was the biggest regret he ever did in his life was actually do the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Because he said he was told one thing by this person. He said this particular person motivated him to do the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And the person was Colin Powell. And he said Colin Powell told him to do the Don't Ask, Don't Tell, persuaded him. Why? Because he says, if you do it, the quote-unquote happy service members would never get in trouble for going to happy bars, marching in happy rights parades, as long as they weren't in uniform. That's what he said. Now, also, Bill Clinton said when it came down to getting, he said people who are happy, I said that way for YouTube purposes, okay, YouTube purposes. He said getting happy materials for any of the places they went or any of the things they did, as long as they didn't talk about it, then that is what was fine. / don't ask, don't tell. However, according to Bill Clinton, and I'm going to play that clip because this is why it's what's making me wonder if people keep putting out there as far as like women roles in the military and women roles in the politics, will that set women back as a whole? Right? Now, I'm not saying women need to be in combat. I never said that, right? But my question is, right? According to Pete Hegseth kind of jokingly said, well, why don't we make roles for women in the military? And that's the same thing in regards to Bill Clinton, okay, signing the act of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, giving a role for the happy people, making sure happy people can have a position in the military, as long as they what? Don't ask, don't tell. But when the Don't Ask, Don't Tell act was signed, he said as soon as this guy, Colin Powell, retired from his role, he said that's when, quote unquote, Congress came in and reversed the meaning of the phrase Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Okay? And I'm going to play a clip. If you guys want to question me, here's a clip of Bill Clinton stating, okay, he regretted it. Regretted it to the fullest. Look at his face. Look at his face. And this is fair use, fair use, fair use.
Oh, yeah, but keep in mind, I didn't choose this policy. Don't Ask, Don't Tell was only adopted when both houses of Congress had voted by a huge veto-proof margin to legislate the absolute ban on gays in the military if I didn't do something else. That is, they'd made it clear, both houses in their votes by veto-proof margins, they would never let me order, by executive order, gays to serve in the military. So it's some big myth that somehow it rolled for the military. The Congress.
Now, this is Bill Clinton speaking on it, right? And the reason I had to show that, because I want people like Pete Hegseth to understand this, right? The roles women have in the military are very small. And Truth Unveiled, I don't know if you're still in here. I think Truth said it or Chris said it, but it was it was pinned. But I'm going to show a graph of what the percentage of women in the military altogether in different roles as of 2022, the statistics. Okay? As far as the statistics show. And statistics show women in the Army as of 2022. Tomorrow I will get a more upgraded graph, because according to Pete Hegseth, he stated when the Obama administration came in and they wanted to try to welcome everybody, that's when it went haywire. That's when things went haywire, right? That is what this gentleman, Pete Hegseth, I want to make sure I show Pete Hegseth. That is what Pete Hegseth said. This gentleman right here. But if you can see this graph, I want people to understand. When you look at this graph clearly shows just how small percentage women are even in the military anyway. Example, Army. The Army is 18.8%, basically 19% of women. Look at the men. It's 81.2%, and that's the Army. Look at the Navy. Navy is 20.9% women to 79.1% men. And look at the Marine Corps, because Pete spoke about that. The Marine Corps is 9.8%. 9.8% women to 90.2% women. Air Force. Now, why I wanted to look up Air Force, why did I speak on Air Force? Because in the interviews, Pete spoke about, he was like, well, and there were a lot of veterans and a lot of military people in. I think some in now today, and thank you guys for coming in. He said, well, women, they can make great pilots, excellent pilots, but look at the percentage for the women in the Air Force, only 23%. 23.4% of women are in the Air Force to 76.6% men. Look at Space Force, 19% women to 81%. Then the total overall average, 19.7% to 80% men. Now, why do I say all this? Why do I say all of this? Because I want people to understand, right? You might say, okay, yes, let's make roles for women. Well, I just told you guys, Bill Clinton tried that. Bill Clinton, he tried that back in 2000. Well, I'm sorry, back in 1993. He tried that with the don't ask, don't tell. And it was someone yesterday, last live stated, well, I wish we had don't ask, don't tell still. I wish we had that again, because now, according to Pete Hegseth, as well as other people that I've spoken to in the military, okay, they have all agreed with Pete on this side. Majority, not all. Majority of them have agreed with Pete Hegseth on the side that, well, now when you go into certain parts in the military, you have to be careful with your uses of pronouns. Now they're having extra training to be able to know what to say to people of the LGBTQIA plus community. You have to be very careful what you say. Pronoun usage. Then he's saying now the standards have changed. Now the standards have evolved. And he said the standards have evolved to the point where if there were a war, you would have more casualties, because the program and the focus is no longer on military scheme. It's now so more on integrating. And he said on that note, that is why, as far as this goes, now you're in jeopardy as far as the military as a whole. That's his response on it. But remember what I said with what Bill Clinton did. Bill Clinton said, I did the don't ask, don't tell. But as soon as I did it and Colin Powell retired, that is when that things started to change. And things started to change for the worse. Now, how does all this come into play? And I'm going to read what Bill Clinton said. Bill Clinton says, after Colin Powell retired, he says that's very different. It was a very different don't ask, don't tell. That's what he said. He says we got a senator general, okay, after he retired. He says that's when it was vicious mid and low level officer feedback, where they for a year or so made it worse than it had been for more than settled down. Okay? Now, how does all this come into play? Because guess what? Guess who becomes president? President Barack Obama. He ended the act 2011. Okay? And what happened when he ended this act? This don't ask, don't tell. That's when you have all of this coming up. This is what, see, now it's kind of making all sense now, because when Pete Hegseth spoke on things as far as, okay, now we're having quote unquote people of the trans community, you know, you might have a trans woman, you know, they are on the women's side, and then you have a trans man, they're on the men's side. Now it's getting a little more political than focusing on training to prepare for, you know, when war comes, when military, on the military level, right? But remember what I said though. Remember what I said. If Pete Hegseth, if he's saying all of this and he's supposed to be in the role of Secretary of Defense, then my question to him is, if you're saying, well, give women roles in the military, look at the percentage. The percentage is already low for women in the military as is. So if you're saying, well, women can't be in combat and give women roles and all of this, then are you really saying that women shouldn't be in the military at all? I don't know. I will say this. I do agree in some areas of the military. Yes, I can see why, women may not need to be in that role. Yes. Okay. I get that. Yes. It was proven recently with Donald Trump. Okay. In Pennsylvania with that attempt. Yes. There should not be a woman that is the height of 5'2" standing by a man that's 6'2" to protect him. Who can she protect? Now, I can understand that. Moving forward, and thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. I'm going to go back into the comments. I'm sorry, I'm way behind. Hello, the Herbal Goddess. Thank you for coming in. Truth Unveiled says, Julie, that's bad analogy. I wouldn't care who takes care of wound. Just get it done. But yeah, I guess I love a woman's soothing spirit. Whoa. Melinda says, hello, everyone. This is all stuff showing here. I'm shocked. Little Baby says, then you are probably the only person in America that does have respect for him. Little Baby. Little Baby. Do you know Little Baby, the rapper? Anyway, hello, Marble. Marble says, men stop being wanted for being them after they get out of school. And Little Baby, it was just a joke. Little Baby, I'm going to go back to you to answer your question, right? This is the Politigram. This platform welcomes everybody, right? Welcomes everybody. And I thought, I don't know where you're from, Little Baby, but I thought, okay, being an American is having respect already. That's what I thought. Having a freedom of speech and respecting other people's views and opinion on things. That's what I thought. So to answer your question respectfully and politely, okay, I respect everybody. I have respect for everybody. Right? And thank you for coming in. Much respect to you. Now back to Marble. I'm going to read what your comment is. Marble says, men stop being wanted for being them after they get out of school. Then it's what you can provide and bring to the relationship while the situation doesn't change for women. Woo! Woo! That was deep, Marble. Jason says, Biden opened up the door for Trump to start. Pardon people. Now, Jason, you forgot one more person, right? One more person opened the door as well. So we forgot about Kamala, right? We forgot about Kamala Harris, right? Because she opened that door too. We forgot about her, this person.
Common sense approaches, not just about, and that means, again, working together in real time, grounded on finding common sense approaches, not just about.
It is so funny that clip that I just showed you guys, she says working together, but she didn't work with Ron DeSantis. She didn't work with him. She didn't work with him. And Ron DeSantis, he's the governor of Florida. They had a massive hurricane, two hurricanes. She didn't want to communicate with him. And Ron DeSantis, he didn't want to believe the fluff that she was throwing out there in the wind. Right? So to answer your question, I also believe that Kamala Harris, she also opened that door. She opened that door when she caused people to donate $1.4 billion to her campaign, and she still lost. Because $1.4 billion, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to raise, and you still lose. But if you guys saw in the news recently, Thanksgiving weekend, you had a 2-year-old cross the border. A 2-year-old that could not speak English holding a yellow piece of paper with a name on it and a phone number and said her mom and dad is over here in America. A 2-year-old by herself. Then you also had a 10-year-old come by himself with a cell phone. Said his parents are over here. So why do I speak of that? Because Joe Biden, he appointed Kamala Harris to be vice president, and he also gave Kamala Harris, one of her responsibilities was to what? Assist in the border control. So to answer your question, well, to add on to what you say, Jason, as far as Biden opened the door for the Trump to start pardoning people, right? I can say, well, Kamala Harris, she done opened up a whole lot of can of worms. A whole lot of can of worms. Why? Because you have all of these undocumented migrants that have came over, and that has caused other issues. And if you guys have been following me, you would know what those other issues are. And as far as, I want to say this, pardoning, I wanted to talk about that with Donald Trump. Donald Trump, he has the nominations. I don't know if I can hit on that today. I'm not sure because I hinted on it yesterday. But he did pardon family members as well on his own. Okay? Notice what I said. Donald Trump pardoned a family member last time he was president. Okay? So he did it. He did it. And, it is what it is. I feel with the Biden administration as a whole, and that's why I had to make sure I include Kamala Harris. I'm trying to be respectful to calling her Kamala Harris and not camel toe. But when it comes down to things, Joe Biden didn't do it by himself. I gotta put some of this blame on the vice president. I got to put some of this blame on the vice president. And the vice president is Kamala Harris. Got to. Julie says, Marble, women have expectations in a relationship as well. Now, I could go there as far as relationships. I'm going to read the comments. Let me read the comments first. Julie says, Jason, Trump already realized that power. Trump has, and see, that's why I said, I really believe that's one of the reasons that the Democrats fell short altogether, because they did not focus on the focus, right? And the focal point should have been, this should have been the focal point. What Donald Trump? Because when I went on Kamala Harris' website, right, she didn't have her points like this. Donald Trump points was straight up. Kamala Harris points, it was what, a 70 something page. It was a long page, pamphlet almost. But it still didn't get to the point. Donald Trump's Agenda 47, straight up to the point. Number one, seal the damn border. Seal it. Straight to the point. Number two, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. Number three, end inflation and make America affordable again. Number four, make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. And in that, he always says drill, baby, drill. See, these are straight to the points. These are straight points. Now, will these points actually come true? Look, I don't know. I don't know. I can't say. But what I can say, when it comes down to the press conference, that Mike Johnson had, he wanted to keep everything on the focal point, right? He wanted to keep things on focus. And one more, I want to actually hit on certain topics with this particular press conference that he held. Okay, and I'm going to stroll down and hit certain topics that he discussed, because these are points. And thank you guys for commenting. Please hit that like button.
It's an ancient truth that medicine should always heal and never harm. But the UK just joined Canada in twisting that definition of medicine and codifying the Orwellian language of assisted death into law. I just want to say this. America has always stood out as a beacon, as a shining city on a hill. We've stood out in this regard. Our declaration makes the bold proclamation, the acknowledgement that life is a gift from our Creator. Our founders called it a self-evident truth, that all of us are made equally by our Creator, and that He's the one that gives us our rights. And any society that rejects that truth about life as a gift from our Creator and adopts a culture of death is a society that is in the process of crumbling.
Now, the reason I stopped it there, I want to talk about, because he's stating that America, from what I interpret, and you guys tell me, and thank you guys for commenting, you guys tell me. Okay, from what I interpret, and hello, Narendra, shout out to India. Thank you for coming in. Now, he made it seem as if America is pro-life. And I'm not talking about Ron DeSantis. The person I'm talking about, sorry about that, is Mike Johnson, the clip that you just saw. And what he was talking about is UK making a decision, okay? UK making a decision. And he stated that America is not like that. We believe in pro-life. But the question is that really true? Because if that was really, really, really true, you would not have the penalties, okay? When it comes down to, if you are found guilty, you are either given years in prison, life in prison, or let's just say no life, okay? So if America is what he says it is, as far as we are quote unquote pro-life, and I'll throw another one out there. If America is quote unquote pro-life, then why are some states pro-choice? See, this, that's why I'm saying, some people, this is what it is. This is what it is. Now, I do on my end, I believe in pro-life. That's me, right? To an extent, right? I believe in pro-life. But I'm not going to sit here and say all Americans believe in pro-life, because if that's the case, then you wouldn't have quote unquote deleting babies, right? You wouldn't have that here. That would be obsolete. Now, as far as the Trump administration, okay, now he believes that that's a different case. As far as the Trump administration goes, I tell you right now, Trump altogether is pro-life. Pro-life. Okay? Altogether. But once again, like I stated, you have to kind of be careful, when you say certain things. And I feel like with Mike Johnson, when he said what he said, as far as, now I will agree on the levels that what UK is doing. I will break down what UK has agreed to. And I got to be very careful with my words for YouTube purposes. When it comes down to UK, November the 29th, UK voted in favor of a bill to legalize assisting in someone passing away. Okay? Now, this is what Mike Johnson was saying. America will not assist somebody in passing away. Okay? Now, in regards to all these requirements with UK, I will make another video for that. Okay? I will agree. I don't believe in assisting someone to quote unquote, pass. I'll say it that way, pass. But according to UK, they passed the bill saying, well, that's fine. You can do that over here, long as you, and look at the requirements. As long as you are over the age of 18, you live in England or Wales over a year, you have a physician, and you are with mental capacity, right? But my thing is this, and I could be wrong when I say this, I could be wrong, but maybe it's just because I'm pro-life with things, but I feel, when it comes down to certain things, I don't want to assist in somebody's passing like that. I don't want to do that. I don't. I feel that that's some of the reason here in America, people are so afraid, of having a child. And that's one of the reasons when it came down to Vance, J.D. Vance, Donald Trump's vice president, he said on in the debate that we need resources to assist women, to assist families, so they won't have to have those decisions, right? We need more resources to assist women, families, single parents, right? So that won't be on the top of your head as far as passing a baby away. That won't be on the top of your head. See, these are the things that I think people don't think about. They look at the negatives, right? When you think of Trump, they look at the negatives. But the thing is, okay, so many people have passed away from not educating themselves on taking the medications as far as passing a baby. I'll say it that way, passing a baby away, right? Because I give you an example of what happened here in Georgia. It was a lady here, and Kamala Harris, she promoted, I feel like she used her family for political gain. She used her family for political gain. It was a lady here. I'm not going to get into the names. I'll talk about it another live. But it was a lady here in Georgia. And anybody who knows the state of Georgia, the state of Georgia is quote unquote pro-life, not pro-choice. And in regards to Georgia being pro-life, with the governor, he signed the bill stating that after the baby is of 6 weeks or over, you cannot quote unquote pass a baby away, as they say, right? So when that happened, this lady, she as well as her friend drove to another state to get medication to assist in her passing, okay, passing a baby. I'll say it that way. But the dilemma that she got in is she got sick. She got sick when she came back after she took the medication. And what do you guys think happened? She tried to go to the hospital here. And when she went to the hospital, it took the doctors over 12 hours to decide if they would even operate on her. Why? Because of the law here in Georgia. You cannot touch a lady, okay, if she has a baby that is 6 weeks or older. And because of that, they waited so late. She did not make it after the operation. And now we have a lawsuit here in Georgia because of that. And see, this is why I say you have to have resources and options for people so they won't get themselves into a jeopardizing state of mind and situation. Because I'm going to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's very risky to do. Drive to another state. Why? Because you live in a state that does not give you any options other than drive to another state. That was the predicament this lady was in. She was a single mother. She had a son. She has a son that was 6 years old. And I think he was 6. I want to say 6. And she had applied for nursing school. Okay, as a single mother, and she ended up pregnant, and she could not afford, supposedly, to have another child. And I'm being very sensitive. This is a sensitive topic. But when it came down to J.D. Vance, okay, he spoke about it in the debate with Tim Walz, or as they called him allegedly, Timmy Tampon. Okay, he spoke about how women and single parents, as well as families as a whole, even if you're married, need to have resources, more resources available. Right? So these are the things, people need to look at. What's to come when this person becomes president? Now, when it comes down to as far as what Mike Johnson said, he did say this in his press conference that was held yesterday. He called out Joe Biden like there was no other. But I want people to understand, when you call somebody out, you also have to take note of what this person has done as well, because I can say he lied too. I can say he lied too. Nobody's perfect. Joe Biden's definitely not perfect. I mean, I showed it to you guys. His video. I mean, to people would say he lied. If you guys just coming in, please hit that like button. We're not going to even look at Kamala Harris again. I mean, we already know she been lying. Kamala Harris been lying. Kamala Harris was lying when she was a district attorney. But we're going to leave that alone. Now, with Joe Biden, according to Mike Johnson, on 10 occasions, he has said 10 occasions documented that he would not pardon his son. And I showed the video, one of the occasions back in June, that was true, that he basically, he lied. Now, I would say this: what father wouldn't do it, though? What parent wouldn't do it? Right? Some parents do believe in accountability and responsibility. And yes, Hunter Biden, I think he's in his 50s from when I looked him up. And Joe Biden is 82. I couldn't believe it when I looked it up. But with Mike Johnson, he's saying that, wait, Joe Biden lied 10 times. But like I stated, I mean, I could easily say the same thing for this person. And I'm not trying to take no sides, because guess what? At the end of the day, politics, it's dirty hands on both sides. Dirty hands. Because just like I said earlier in this live, the Don't Ask, Don't Tell Act that was signed by Bill Clinton in 1993, but it was dismantled by Barack Obama's administration back in 2011. Okay? According to Bill Clinton, he was given false hope. He said the Congress, they did not follow through with what the act was supposed to be. And that is why now in the year of 2024, now you have all of this coming up. When it comes down to integration, when it comes down to integrating, okay? And I will talk about the happy people tomorrow. I have to say it that way. The happy people. Because now in the military, according to Pete Hegseth, now, according to him, as well as other people in the military, and I want to throw this out there, also in regards to this person, Ron DeSantis, because he's another person that they're speculating might end up replacing Pete Hegseth, okay, for Secretary of Defense. He's the current governor of Florida. They are all in the same tune when it comes down to happy people. And as far as in the military goes. Now, why do I say that? It's in his record. Where's his stance? He has opposed bills and judicial rulings upholding the same sex marriage. Okay? It's in his record. Okay? It's in his record. The only thing when it comes down to Ron DeSantis, he supports veterans. He supports veterans, and he supports veterans getting proper treatment for mental health. Okay? He has a real stance on that. But when it comes down to the happy people, no. No. Now, yes, he doesn't, it's not that he doesn't, he has respect, he has respect, but when it comes down to supporting as far as Medicaid, okay, when it comes down to providing Medicaid, as far as medical treatment, as far as the government paying for it, as far as insurance goes, no. He doesn't support it. And if he doesn't support that as a governor, what do you think he's going to do when he becomes, or if he becomes Secretary of Defense? And the only reason I'm mentioning him is because people have already been speculating there's a possibility that he will end up replacing Pete Hegseth. Now, if anybody knows, Pete Hegseth recently did an interview recently, okay, stating that he talked to Donald Trump and he has full faith in Donald Trump that he is going to still have his position as Secretary of Defense, and he's just waiting for the House of Senate to sign it and move forward with it. However, I want to make sure we take this in note with Mr. Trump. Donald Trump, when it comes down to Secretary of Defense, last term, when he was the 45th president, right? The Secretary of Defense role had been changed 5 times. It had 5 different people in it. And you're only the president for 4 years. So that's giving you an idea of what I think might happen to Pete Hegseth. Even if the House of Senate signs it off for him to move forward to become Secretary of Defense, I don't think Pete Hegseth is going to make it. I think, and I'm thinking heads on. If Pete Hegseth, and you guys take my word if you want. If you don't, if Pete Hegseth makes it to become Secretary of Defense, he won't have that role by 2026. I guarantee it. You know why? Because of what's been going on now. What's been coming up. And I'm not going to get into all the personal. I talked about it last live. I might do it later on today. But I want you guys to understand when it comes down to somebody, quote unquote, as saying, oh, well, Mike Johnson said, well, Joe Biden, he's lied. He's done this. They all lie. politics. Nobody. They all lie. All of them lie. Nobody in politics has clean hands. Nobody. And I'll tell you what. You tell me one person in politics, right? One person. I give you one. I can give you one. But you tell me one person that is in politics currently or has been in politics that has been clean hands. I can give you one that has come close to being clean, close. But there's nobody in politics that's clean. And there's no way Mike Johnson is going to make me say, oh no, there's nobody. Mm-mm. Now, I will say this. I think with Donald Trump, I think people are very kind of wary of what he might do, because if we can all remember with Donald Trump, if Donald Trump, don't try him. You can't try. I'll say it this way. You can't try Donald Trump like you tried and played out Joe Biden. You know why? Because Donald Trump, I'll tell you the way Trump moves. If anybody has been in America and been watching the way Trump moves, right? Trump, if he doesn't get his way, he will do an executive order. He will put a freeze. If he doesn't get his way, that's how he moves. And I'll give you another one. I'll take it out of politics. Let's do better than that. I'll give you another one. We can take it out of politics, right? We can talk about the lawsuit. We can talk about the civil lawsuit. Oh, yes. We can talk about the quote-unquote civil lawsuit. Don't take my word for it. Oh, yes, we can talk about that. Don't take my word for it. Let's talk about this civil lawsuit. We can talk about Leticia James with this civil lawsuit. Right? Because with her, I'm going to tell you with Trump's team, they are already coming for Leticia, telling her, you're not getting that multi-million-dollar money that over, how much is it? You're not getting that money. As a matter of fact, his lawyer requested for that case to be dismissed. Why? Look at what's been going on. Jack Smith done dropped everything, dropped the appeal, dismissed the case in Washington, D.C. The judge in New York can't even sentence Donald Trump. That's been postponed. And then now here in Georgia, Pitbull, that's what they call him, Donald Trump's lawyer, Pitbull, he's put in a request to our district attorney to drop this dang case. That's how Donald Trump moves. So why do I say all of this? I say all of this to say you cannot try Trump like they tried Joe. And I say that because with Joe Biden, I feel he feels that they used his son. Right? They used his son because they wanted to come for him. But they couldn't come for him, so they used his son as casualty. Now with his son, I'm not saying he was a saint. Yes, we can talk about the taxes. Yes, him moving $1.4 million from his own company and not paying the taxes. Yes, him purchasing a pop, knowing he wasn't even supposed to have that, considering he was an addict We can talk about a lot of things. Hunter is definitely not perfect. Definitely. Anybody goes with their brother's wife or widow is definitely not perfect. Yes, he's not perfect. He went with his brother's wife. I'm sorry. But does that mean he deserved a total of almost 40 years of prison? Does that mean he should be in prison for 40 years? Because that was the maximum penalty for both of those cases that he pleaded guilty to. Did him having an addiction as well as sleeping with the widow to his brother, does that mean he deserved 40 years, almost 40 years in prison? No. Because I tell you what. And people are stating this too. If Joe Biden pardoned his son, and his son was looking at almost 40 years of federal prison time, maximum, some people saying, well, hey, why don't you pardon him then? Why don't you pardon him then? Since we throwing out pardons, I mean, everybody's throwing out pardons. Everybody's throwing out pardons. But that's why I say what I say. Nobody has clean hands. But I tell you what, the difference is with this person right here, we already know what he's about. We already know what he's about. And some people can say that's good. Some people can say it's bad. Some people can say, like Ellen DeGeneres and her wife, they have left America. They have moved to England. But guess what? Some people can't move. Some people cannot just leave. Some people can't. So the question is, people, what are you going to do moving forward? Because you can't make this person go away. Kamala Harris is not president. Joe Biden, I'm going to show you how Joe Biden looks. Because Joe Biden doesn't look like this now. This is what has happened to Joe Biden the last 4 years of him being the president. It has stressed him out. All of this chaos. All of this chaos. This is how he looked during the quote-unquote debate 5 months ago.
Every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President.
What in the heck? This is how Joe Biden is going right now. So I played that for you guys, right? I played that for you guys so you guys can understand the level that he's at right now when it comes down to where he stands and why he moved the way he moved as far as quote unquote pardoning his son. There's why. If you look at him, you saw it. You saw it for yourself. You saw it for yourself how he looked 5 months ago. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. And I want people to understand that because, you know, yes, was he, okay, me personally, he's a father. He's an 82-year-old father who lost all of his children except Hunter. Hunter is the only one he has. And I really feel this, ladies and gentlemen, if Hunter Biden would have did any time in federal prison, I don't think Joe would have made it. Because I just showed you how Joe Biden looked 5 months ago. And according to this gentleman right here at the press conference, Mike Johnson, he said it himself, how Joe Biden allegedly was hiding the cognitive issues, his cognitive skills, right? So I don't think he would have made it. I don't think he would have made it. But you know what? I'll say this, though. Sometimes you got to be careful what you say. Why? Because I don't know if people know this or not, but this man right here, he's the same age as Joe Biden was 4 years ago. I cannot wait to see how Donald Trump makes it out when 2028 comes in. Because he's 78 now. He's around the same age as Joe Biden was 4 years ago. But I'll say this, all this mess that's been going on with Donald Trump, he's getting stressed out too. He's getting stressed out. I'll say it this way. For people don't think I don't get what I'm saying. Everything that Joe Biden had been going through for the past 4 years, right, as president, Donald Trump is going to feel 10 times more. Why? I already showed it to you guys in my previous lives. Look. Already his picks, his nominations, they have been getting quote unquote what? Threats. And it's crazy because this gentleman right here, Matt Gaetz, he dropped out and they still tried to swat him. He dropped out. And I got to be careful with my words. But his family received threats. In Florida. And this is after he dropped out. So what in the world? Watch this. What do you think? What do you think is going to come to this guy? Because I've been reading some of these comments about Pete Hegseth. And someone said in the comments, you know, people don't have respect for Pete Hegseth. People don't like him. He's a womanizer. He's a liar. He's an alcoholic. He's a this, he's a that. He's a da-da-da-da-da. But guess what? All of that means nothing. Why? Because the question is, what's to come within this 4-year time frame? What's to come? Because just like I told you guys, if they'll threaten Matt Gaetz and he dropped out of the nomination bid, he dropped out of it. If they threaten him, as well as other nominations, as far as other picks, what do you think is going to come for this guy? Because he has already stated, and that's why I've been talking about it for the past, 2 days. I'm doing my research on it because I want to be a fair person. I want to be a fair person. And with Pete Hegseth, one of the controversial topics that he spoke about, and that's why I titled the thumbnail, right, versus women, because according to him, he said we should not have women in combat. And that's a very strong phrase to put out like that. Now, do I agree? I agree. Some roles, you might want to say, every woman can't get into those roles. Now, I'm not saying all women should just be banned from combat. No. And tomorrow I'll do it this way, because that's why I'm breaking it down. I'm going to show you guys there are some women that are in the role. They have been in the role of combat, and they are still in the military as of 2024. They're not they're not a veteran like some people. But anywho, Pete Hegseth is saying all of this, but you have to be careful because he's saying all of this, and I want people to understand this. He's saying all this, but I'd be very mindful of how and what I say, because if I was him, and newsflash, it's much respect. I want to make sure I say this. It's much respect to the people in the military as well as the veterans. Much respect. When it comes down to people like this right here, Pete Hegseth, when he says things, what he says and how he says it, I can't respect all what he says. I can't. Because when he says certain things, it really gets people upset, and it makes people think that, okay, do you respect the people in the military yourself? Because if you respect the people in the military yourself, you wouldn't move the way you're moving now and saying things. You don't. Why? Because, like I stated to you guys, there's already Donald Trump's nominations have already been getting threats. Some people have already dropped. One person, I forget the guy's name, he has already put in his nomination to step down, in addition to Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz, he dropped out because of his own allegations and whatnot. But it's another guy recently, he stepped down. And I really believe it had a lot to do with those quote unquote, threats. I really believe that. I really, really do. And I say that because when it comes down to this person here, Ron DeSantis, he's a wild one too. But the difference between Ron DeSantis and Pete Hegseth is just going around doing interviews, and he's not even in the position yet. See, my thing is this. It's fine to have your opinion on women not being in combat. That's fine. I can respect your opinion of having an opinion. But I'm not finna sit here and go on different platforms, and I'm not even in the position yet. I still have to get the Senate to vote me in. And on top of that, people already, still have kind of, feelings, confusion and, frustration about everything that has happened in the election still. And the election was a month ago. And thank you guys for coming in, but I want people to understand that. Now, my question at this point is, I want you guys to really, really put it in the quote unquote comments, right? And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Please, if you would like to even be a more supporter, you can always donate a super sticker chat or be a member. Okay. And also I want to speak on that. As far as membership goes, I was planning on doing 2 different memberships. One is going to be a membership of affirmations, daily affirmations for people, because of things that's been going on here in the world altogether, not just in America, but in the world altogether. People such as myself, we all need a lift me up. You know what I'm saying? We all need a lift up, to just get our day started. Because as you can see, everything that has been going on, and I will show it recently, like yesterday, there was another mass school episode where a man came to a school by Uber. You cannot make this up. He came by an Uber driver. An Uber driver dropped him off. Okay. Came to the school, met with the principal, had a meeting, and then supposedly was supposed to, quote unquote, try to get their child into this school. And this happened in California. They said it happened 60 miles north of Sacramento, to be exact. Okay? And he came to this school to try to get his child, this is what the principal said, allegedly, to try to get his child to go to this school. And this school only holds 33 to 35 students. It's a K through 8 campus. And he ended up passing away a 5-year-old, well, not passing away, let me be careful. He ended up popping a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old that end up having to go to the hospital, and they are in allegedly extreme critical condition. And with him, he passed away himself. I'll say it that way. So, it's just a lot going on here in America. Oh, and thank you so much let me make sure I'm trying to let me see where it's coming from. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. I appreciate it let me go into the comments. Thank you for coming in. Going to read the comments. Shout out to Art of War. Art of War says, good morning, everybody. Please double tap that screen. Yes. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much. Shout out to Cannon Sanders. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you as well. Thank you so much. Also, thank you so much to the donations. I appreciate it so much. Like I stated, it is so much going on. I want to get into the comments. Joy says, please be respectful to the host. Yes, shout out to Joy. Thank you so much, Joy. Crystal says she is following her mother of the same 20 Master Sergeant of the Army. Who are you guys talking about? Adam says, I turned the volume off at this point. I'm here for the chat. Thank you so much, Adam. Much praise to you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, you guys. I'm going into the chat. I'm reading the chat. And he says, women on the front line save lives. We see things men don't, and vice versa. Perspective is everything. Male-only perspective of the battlefield puts soldiers at a disadvantage. Jason says, Cammy lying. Cammy lying. Benito says, camel toe, I'm going to use that one. And he says, DeSantis is horrible. Coming from Florida with 42nd in public school system and slipping. He's the worst ever. Wow, Annie. Annie says, slamming her name is y'all have ever had going for you. Now, Annie, like I stated, I appreciate you. I'm going to pin that. I appreciate that because I want people to come in here and come with come with their facts, opinions. Okay. I appreciate your comment. And a lot of people have said that. And I'm going to be honest. It's people that I know personally. It's people that I know personally saying the same thing that you are saying in regards to Ron DeSantis. But this is what I ask, right? This is what I ask. And I'll talk about it even more. Who do you feel should be the Secretary of Defense? Because I'm going to be honest. I don't know about Pete. I think you put Pete in, Pete is going to be looking like Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. But anywho, going back into the comments. Crystal says, we knew he was going to pardon him because that is his son. I know the man. Hunter is disgusting, but he has to live with himself. He should serve time for his crime. And see, that is why, you know, you kind of have to wonder, you know, like, how far, and I talked about this last live, how far would you go for your son or for your child? How far would you go? And I spoke about it. The question was, how far would you help an addict to recover? How far would you help an addict to recover? Because I'll say this, when it comes down to Joe Biden pardoning his son, who's to say, you know, like I said, me personally, with Joe Biden being 82 years old, I think this would have been the breaking edge for Joe Biden. I really believe that. Because, you know, I mean, and then I do believe this, though. You have to have accountability. And I think Hunter has been baby fed all of the 50-some years he's been on this earth. He's been baby fed. But one thing I can say, Annie, in regards to this man right here, when I looked him up, all those years, he's been in politics longer than I've been alive. He's been in office longer than I've been alive. And I would say, when I look Joe Biden up, you know, I want to be impartial, right? But I don't know a lot of people that can go through the things that he's went through. He's lost a daughter. He's lost a son. He's lost a wife. And the only son and the only child that he has to carry on his legacy, I'll say it that way, is Hunter. Now, Hunter is, I will agree, the things that he has done, Annie. That's why I had to pin what you said. When I looked him up and I talked about him previous live, I can't disagree. I can't disagree with what you're saying. I can't. But I really feel that the reasons that he had these charges, he's not the only one that's done this. You have a lot of people in the real world that has done this, but they're not looking at almost 40 years of federal prison. They're not. Now, I'll say this with Joe Biden, though. Moving forward, if Hunter gets into any more trouble moving forward, it's on him. It's on him at this point, because Joe Biden has done everything a father can do for their child. Or I'm sorry, for their son, because he's in his 50s. Hunter is in his 50s. So if anything were to happen now moving forward, I would say Joe Biden will have washed his hands. That's how I look at it. He will have washed his hands. And thank you guys for coming in. I'm going to go back into the comments. Annie says, he paid the taxes he owed. No other American serves time for that. They just pay penalties. And Trump, with no checks, would have crucified Hunter. And see, this was what I'm talking about. Like, people have to understand, and that's one thing I'm glad you mentioned that, Annie. When it came down to Hunter, he did pay those taxes. He did pay it back. He did. He did pay him back. How he paid him back, that's a different case. Jason says, wherever at Lake Dallas here. Shout out to Jason. Thank you for coming in. And he says, meanwhile, Trump is a grape. Thank you for using that, Annie. Grape gets away with literally everything. Artivore says, good morning, everybody. Hit that like button. Yes. Jason says, unaliving. Cannon, much shout out to you. Thank you so much. And I want to actually, let me go ahead. Trying to see how I can do it for you. Thank you so much. Marv says, that's not what happened. And thank you guys for coming in. Shout out to BDBGP. Thank you for coming in. Hello, Herbal Goddess. Herbal Goddess says, where is Joe's wife? You know what? Jill Biden, that's a good question because she has been very, very MIA. Considering she has been vocal all this time prior, but she's been laying low. Candace says, bill over DeSantis. Jacqueline says, Obama pardoned 2000. What the you talking about? Pardon, Jacqueline. I never said that. What are you talking about, Jacqueline? What are you talking about? Jacqueline says, Trump pardoned Kodak that swerved half of his sentence, the same sentence Hunter was convicted. Okay, let me say this, because we're having a breakdown, okay? And hello, Rhea, thank you for coming in. I will say this, right? Kodak Black is not Trump's son. That's the difference. Kodak Black is not Trump's son. It makes a big difference. It's not. And I'll say this, even with Kodak Black, you guys know what Kodak Black is going through. I mean, come on. But like I said, Jacqueline, I never said any of that. All I'm saying is this, okay? When it comes down to Joe Biden, right? That is his son. I'm not saying what he did is right. I ain't saying, because see, I'm going to tell you this. I feel he should have just stood on it. He shouldn't have, quote unquote, been lying and saying, he said it back in June, he's not pardoning Hunter. He said it back in September, he's not pardoning Hunter. He kept saying, I'm not going to pardon my son. I'm going to trust the judicial system. I'm not going to do it. And sure enough, what does he do? He puts out this statement pardoning his son. And I want to make sure people understand the type of pardon that he put out. He put out a full and unconditional pardon. Full unconditional pardon. And I'm going to read some of it. He says, for those offenses against the United States, which he has committed or may have committed or taken a part in during the period from January the 1st to 2014, from January the 1st of 2014 through December the 1st of 2004, including but not limited to all offenses charged or prosecuted by Special Counsel David West. So with this particular pardon, he's basically saying, even when I'm not here, because David West, I want people to understand this gentleman right here, he's still going to be in his role, even in Donald Trump term. He's got a position, right? As a matter of fact, he was nominated by Donald Trump, what was it, 8 years ago? So He's not going anywhere. I'll say it this way, he's going to be in the Trump administration, right? So look at what Joe Biden said. With this, to me, I feel this particular type of party for Joe Biden to be 82 years old, I might sound like I'm being melodramatic with what I'm about to say, but this particular pardon that Joe Biden did for his son, I'm going to be honest, that's like a will. This is Joe Biden's will to his son. I'm giving you your freedom. And with the way it was written out, I'm giving your pardon, even if I'm not here today or tomorrow, whatever. They cannot try to charge you again or prosecute you on these charges again. So I say that to say, I think, with Joe Biden, he's been through a lot. He's been through a lot. But I'll say this though. I cannot wait to see the day. Make sure I show it. I cannot wait to see the day when this guy, how he looks in the year of 2028. Right? Because I want people to understand, with this Joe Biden administration, there has been so many undocumented immigrants coming in. Millions and millions are already over here. And so many states are already kind of, some people are in agreement with Donald Trump and others are not on the same page with Donald Trump. Some people don't mind working with Donald Trump and others do mind. They're saying, you can't come and mess with my state. You're not finna mess with my people. You come from my state, you come from me. Like the governor of Illinois. So I'm saying that to say, when Trump gets officially into his office, this agenda number 1, seal the border and stop the migrant invasion, I think this is going to be the most difficult one, considering all that are over here as is. I think that's going to be the most difficult one. I'm serious. Oh, and number 2, carry out the largest deportation. That's definitely going to be hard. That's woo. Because even when he does this, right? What's to come when it comes down to how much it's going to cost? The cost of this. What's to come? Because you're still going to have to deal with inflation. Ending inflation. And I talked about it even in New York. Eric Adams said it. He said they had to cut the vouchers. They had to cut the vouchers. Why? Because by next summer, if they would not have stopped it, because they have not been receiving federal funds like they supposed to have been receiving, it would have been a $12 billion tab against the New York City taxpayers. So that's why I say these two right here, seal the border, stop the migrant invasion, and carry out the largest deportation. Those are going to be very, very, very hard. And I say this because like I said earlier in this live, people are sending their children by themselves crossing the border. There was a 2-year. I will show it tomorrow. I will show it. I got to be very careful how I show it for YouTube guidelines. Because it is a 2-year-old over Thanksgiving. A 2-year-old, they found the 2-year-old by herself with nothing but a piece of yellow sticker paper. Sticky note. Yellow sticky note. had one lady's name on it and a phone number. And she can only speak Spanish. And she told them that she's 2 years old and her mom and dad are over here in America. So these are the things that Trump is going to have to deal with. These are the things that he's going to have to deal with. Right? Thank you guys for coming in. I'm going to go into the comments. Yes, Real says hit the like button. And thank you, Annie, for coming in. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming in. Jacqueline says, what? Mike says, don't we love Trump? We love Donald Trump. Annie says, I don't like Trump. Cannon says, all have fallen short and been found wanting vote humanity. Yes. And thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate you guys. We're having a good time today. I want to make sure I hit all the key points. Let me go back to my main window. And I appreciate it so much, you guys coming in. I want to make sure I talked about all the key points. All of the key points. Oh, one more thing. Tomorrow, I might come back on live. Look, I always say that, but I had a good live one evening. I had an excellent live one evening, but if I don't come back to today, later on this evening, I will come back same time tomorrow. Yes, I will. I promise. Yes, consistency is key, as they say. Consistency is key. Now, when it comes down to Ron DeSantis, we'll talk about him tomorrow, as well as Supreme Court justices. Yes, they have been making some more motions. Yes, they have been making some more moves. Yes, and also when it comes down to, and this is the lady that I've been looking for all this time. Okay, she is very controversial, and some people want her to be out of the nomination. She's the nomination that Donald Trump picked. He picked her to be, and I want to make sure I'm right, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsa Gabbard. And she was in the military, but look what her position was. And this is just, I guess this would kind of side with, people who are in the military, as well as veterans, as well as Pete Hegseth, with saying that women do not need to be in combat. There are other roles for women in the military, because when it comes down to Tulsa, look at what her role was. She served in the field medical unit. She joined Hawaii Army National Guard, where she served in the field of medical unit. Right? So I guess you would say for her, she would be what Pete Hegseth say, okay, that would be the position for her. She doesn't need to be in combat. The position for her would be medical unit. Right? But look at this. I'm going to highlight it. Tulsa was the first female combat veteran. I'm going to highlight that. Combat veteran. So she started in the medical unit. That's what she started. But look what she became. The very first female combat veteran to run for president. So my whole thing is, that is why I was saying, when it came down to Pete Hegseth, a lot of people are not going to be on the same page with him because I'm just showing you her. She's been in combat. She's been in combat. But according to Pete, look what he said. He's been going on platforms. He even has a book out. And I try to be fair all across the board. I try to be fair. He does have a book out. Okay? And one of his main opinions is we should not have women in combat. Women should not be in combat. But that is what I was trying to actually show. Look, it took all this time to find her. But with her, she is also controversial. Some people feel she should not be in the position that Donald Trump picked for her. And also, I will say she is an example to contradict what Pete Hegseth said, because I'm going to say this. Now, all women cannot do combat. I will say that, right? But I'm not going to sit here and say all women should not be in combat. Come on now. Come on. That's just like saying, okay, if you say that, then all women should not be in military. All women should not be in politics. Because you have some people that say, well, women should not be in certain roles because women are emotional. Women are supposed to be nurturers. Women are supposed to be stay at home. Right? But that's not for everybody. Some women can do more. Some women can look, just like her. Just like her. Some women can do combat as well as be in politics, as well as, now, Director of National Intelligence. Hopefully. We'll see. Because, like I said, she's controversial. Some people feel she shouldn't be in that role. Some people feel she should not be in that role. Some people feel she should not be in the Trump administration as a whole. Right? And thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it. Inner Beauty Blessings, thank you for coming in. Inner Beauty Blessings says, God is in control when he is ready. We will all see what happens. I am not worried. And that's what I think. I think people should not have fear, Don't have fear. And I thank you guys for coming in because you guys motivate me so much. And I genuinely mean that. I mean that real. I mean that art of war. I mean that inner blessings. I mean that joy. I mean that. I mean that the herbal goddess. And even with you, Annie, you're new. Look, you're new. Even for you, thank you for coming in. Thank you. And you have a Merry Christmas too, James. And thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all the military officers that have came into the live, the veterans that have came into the live. This is why I talked and spoke about this, 2 lives, because I want people to understand. Now I'm going to state my opinion. When it comes down to women being in the military, when it comes down to women being in combat, when it comes down to women being in politics. Now, my personal opinion on this is I do feel that the military, is not for everybody, period. Even if you're a man, the military is not. It's not for the weak, okay? And I said it because, and this is why I commend, people that actually, I commend people like Tulsa, anybody, I'll say it that way, anybody. Because people have to understand when you're in the military, and this is one thing a lot of veterans, they go through, right? They come back from the war, and they come back here to America, and they have to readjust. And then they go through changes, right? that go through changes with their mental state because of what they have been through overseas or outside of America when it comes down to wars, when it comes down to their experiences. So for me personally, I say the military as a whole is not for the weak. It's not for everybody, right? And you have people that get into the military for different reasons. Some people get into the military to pay for schooling. Some people get into the military to pay to actually have a living, right? Some people get into the military because they are proud to, quote unquote, in their words, they want to put something back into America, right? They want to put something back into America to do something for America, right? Then you have some people that get into the military because it's just in the family. Everybody's in the military. But remember what I said, the military is not for the weak. It's not, be it man or woman. So my stance when it comes down to women, I do feel that military should not just be for quote unquote men, right? I do feel that military as a whole. And this graph that I showed you guys earlier today, this particular graph, you already see based off this graph, this was the studies of 2020-22. Tomorrow I will give you more updated studies. But as you can see, after years and years of them trying to get people in the military, you still have only a small amount of women in the military. You have 18.8% in the Army, 20%, 20.9% in the Navy, 9.8% in the Marine Corps, 23.4% in the Air Force, 19% in the Space Force. And in total, averaged out is 19.7% as far as women. So you already have a small percentage. So with that being said, okay, with that being said, I do feel there are roles for women in the military. Now, when it comes down to the combat, it all depends on the woman herself. And I'll leave it at that because that's not, I feel like for me personally, that's not my place to say. That's not my place. And I don't want to disrespect any woman that's in the military that has served in combat. I don't want to disrespect any female that's in the military that has those views, right? So my personal opinion is that is for the woman herself, right? But I do feel women and men are biologically made different. Yes, I completely concur. I do. And on that note, I appreciate you guys coming in. I hope I gave a little bit of it, of where I stand on it. I hope a little bit of it. Thank you guys so much for coming in. I'm going to go back into the comments. The Urban Goddess says, you do the crime, do the time. Yes. I completely agree. But don't worry, you guys. Hunter going to get his. Hunter Biden is going to get his. If he is fully sober, as Joe Biden as himself has said, as Hunter and Joe Biden has both said, if Hunter has been sober for 5 years and he continues this sober journey, hopefully he doesn't see nothing but positive come his way. But if he is lying, okay, if he is lying, then Joe Biden has done all he can do for him at this point. And I hope Joe don't do no more than he has done. Okay? I hope. And thank you guys for coming. I'm reading comments before I move out. Thank you guys. Shout out to Joy. Thank you so much, Joy. Shout out to Joy. Shout out to Cannon Sanders for the donations. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Kisses, thank you so much. And also, I want to make sure you guys understand. Always drop a like. You can drop a like. You can share. You can actually subscribe. Thank you guys for coming in. And thank you so much. I appreciate that, Cannon. Cannon says she discusses what is out there very well. This is a good place to air and compare. Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for coming in. Shout out to all you guys. I'm going to actually read my positive. After each live, I always read positive motivation at the end. And it goes, I always read the same, okay? The first one is eliminate the if. Focus on the present. Focus on self and not others. Tell yourself, I will learn something new every day. Also tell yourself, I will not get upset at what I don't have control of. And last but not least, advocate for yourself, because if you don't advocate for yourself, who else will? Speak up for you. And thank you so much for coming in. Shout out to Jason. Shout out to Cannon Sanders. Shout out to Terry. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Nick. Shout out to Super. I'm very passionate. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Fishing. Shout out to Sage. Shout out to Joy. Shout out to Steven. Shout out to Mario. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to James. Shout out to Annie. Shout out to Inner Beauty Blessings. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to Lorna. Shout out to Thomas. Shout out to Lisa. Shout out to the Herbal Goddess. Shout out to Stacy. Shout out to James. Shout out to Cha on Demand. Cha, I didn't see you, Cha. Shout out to Cha on Demand. Shout out to Thomas, Ryan, USVC Rescue Crew. Shout out to Rhea. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Art of War. Shout out to Jacqueline. Shout out to Mona. Shout out to BGP. Thank you for coming in. And yes, I'm feeling great. Shout out to Michael. Shout out to Narendra. Shout out to Marv. Shout out to Timothy. Shout out to Crystal. Shout out to Benito. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Adam. Shout out to Michael. Shout out to Reap. Shout out to Griffith. Shout out to K Raven. Shout out to Anthony Turner. Shout out to Reap. Shout out to everybody. I'm going up. Shout out to Zach. Shout out to Julie. Shout out to Marble. Shout out to Steven. Thank you guys for coming in. I want to show all the love. This time I got to name everybody. Shout out to Little Baby. Shout out to Truth Unveiled. Shout out to Truth Unveiled. Shout out to Move. Shout out to SBM. Shout out to Village of Life with JD. Shout out to Frank R. Shout out to Daniel Holmes. Shout out to Amy. I got to give all the shout outs to show all my support and love. Shout out to Ben. Shout out to OG Brand. Shout out to Shane. Shout out to C. Lucas. Shout out to Matthew. Shout out to Dave. Shout out to Hope Inspires. And shout out to I Am Jacob. Thank you guys for coming in. And yes, Jason says shout out to Jesus and shout out to Kim. Thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it so much. I will come back tomorrow, same time, between 6 a.m. Give me time. It'll be in the morning time. Please subscribe. Please hit that like button. Please replay this video if you can. Please watch the shorts. If you don't have time to watch, you can also just watch some shorts. They're 22 seconds. Put in 22 seconds of your life to have some time to relax. You can watch a short that's 22 seconds or 19 seconds. Come on now, let's go. Candace says, does not matter. The Biden family got all the money with no penalty. Woo! Look, Candy. I'm a penny before I go. I'm gonna let that sizzle for a minute before I go. Let me let that sizzle. I pinned what you just said. And shout out to you, Cannon. Cannon says, does not matter. The Biden family got all the money with no penalty. And I want to be honest. I want to give a shout out to, anybody in politics. I have to give them applause because it couldn't be me. This couldn't be me. It couldn't be me. I tell you that. It could not be me. That takes a lot. It really, really does. It takes a lot to be in a role. It really, really does. Especially this debate this year was wow. And I say this person right here, it couldn't be me. I'd be scared. I'd be stressed out. I'm not even this man's age. And he's doing more than me. He can't do it. The stress, I can imagine. So like I said, shout out to everybody in politics, and even people, if you're tuning into politics, the Politicgram platform, shout out to you guys. Jason says, if you went in with black hair, you'll come out with white. Yes, Jason, you're right. Yes, you look. If you seen how Obama looked now, you saw how Obama looked before and after. Before and after. That's why I said I cannot wait to see how Donald Trump comes out, okay, in 2028. I cannot wait. Because that goes for anybody that's been a president. I'll tell you this, even Kamala Harris, she doesn't even look the same. She doesn't. She's the vice president. She does not look the same as she was 4 years ago. And I'm not going to even play the video that's been going around here on her page. People have been calling saying that she looked like she has been sipping some Hennessy. I'm not going to play that video. Not today. I might play it tomorrow. We'll see. But thank you guys for coming in. It's much praise to you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for making my day. I really appreciate that. Jason says, that place will suck you dry for sure. Exactly. The politics is it is a wild, wild west. It is. And people will try to mold you if you allow them. They will. They will try to mold you if you allow them. Notice how I said that. Right? And that's why I say politics, nobody has clean hands. Everybody has something going on. But the difference is, when it comes down to politics, the catch is, and I think Kamala Harris, I think with her, she forgot that you have to know how to play the game of politics. Because politics is not for everybody. Jason says, hard to be a hero. Yes. It really is. It's really hard to be that hero. And I want people to know this, okay? And it's no disrespect. Like I said, it's all fun and games when with the Kamala Harris joke, it is. But even for her, that takes a lot. All what she's been through, I did look her up. She's came a long way, right? She did come a long way, right? And I'm standing on that. Anybody that goes into politics, that is a very, that's really up there. That's very up. That's higher. And that's why I tell people it's not always about money, because presidents don't make a lot. Notice what I said. The salary itself for president is not a lot. And watch this. If people were going into office and running to be president for the money, do you think Donald Trump, of all people, would be so hard to be president again? If it was just for the money? It's not about the money. It's about what? Power. It's about the power. It's not about the money. Presidents don't make what they deserve. I'll say it that way. Presidents don't make what they deserve to make. Because once you get out of office, you have to have security for the rest of your life. I don't want that life. I don't want that life. I don't want to have to look behind me everywhere I go. And I'll show this person before I go. This person right here. Bill Clinton. This man right now. I saw it. I don't know if you guys saw it. And Jason says, hopefully the love of our country. Yes. Yes, hopefully with the love of our country, I hope that we as a people here in America can at least come together to support one another during this time. Right? Because we don't need any more wars than there already is. We don't need any more differences than there already is. We need to be in a different state of mind. We need to be in a different state. Because I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, these other countries, they're watching. And they're plotting. They're trying to see just how weak we are as far as arguing over our own differences within our country. And that's where we're being different from other countries. So we gotta be strong. We gotta unite. We gotta work together. We have to. We cannot continue to say what the Democrats are not doing, or what they didn't do, or what the Republicans not doing, or what they're stealing and all. We cannot keep doing it, because at the end of the day, we are still going to be here in America. Unless you're like DeGeneres, you can move to England, or unless you like Eva Longoria, you can move between. I don't have it like that. I don't know if you guys have it like that. Jason says other countries won't be laughing at us longer. Jason says other countries won't be laughing too long. You're absolutely right, Jason. But I appreciate you guys coming in, and I had to hold off for you guys. Thank you so much. Shout out to Candace Sanders. Shout out to Jason. Shout out to you as well. Thank you so much for coming in. And I hope you guys please replay the video. Or like I said, if you don't have time, just watch 22-second shorts or 19-second shorts. Yes, I have 19-second shorts. Anything that you do on this page does help the page, right? And support the page. Thank you so much. Always have a peace of mind and always be in peace. This is Politic Graham.